Welcome to Your Sacred Pelvis, how coming into alignment with your core can increase your energy, boost your confidence, and center your spirit. My name is Chaya Leah Aronson. I am a mother, a registered nurse. I have a private practice in Northampton, Massachusetts, practicing the Arvigo techniques of Maya abdominal therapy and holistic pelvic care. It is my honor and privilege and passion to support women through all of the physical, spiritual, and emotional trials, challenges, and celebrations of what it is to be a woman. I support women through all kinds of female reproductive challenges, like fertility challenges, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, painful or irregular menstrual cycles, interstitial cystitis, chronic pelvic pain, vulvodynia, repetitive urinary tract infections, and lots more. Many of my clients have history of sexual and or emotional trauma, so it really is truly an honor and a gift to support women through the other side to a place of stability, joy, sensuality, pleasure, all the magical things that I believe are our birthright as women. So I'm really excited today to share with you some foundational tools to support you in reclaiming your pelvic bowl. When we do this, we see the ripples in all aspects of our lives. And I believe that if we all did this work of reclaiming our cores, the world would evolve in ways we could hardly imagine. So let's start here today together. So our first exercise I like to call postural re-education, because we never really learned how to sit in a way that's balanced and healthy for our pelvic bowl. We are actually going to practice this exercise sitting as well as standing, but we will begin sitting. So here we are. It's great if you can find a way to sit that allows your feet to be flat on the floor. So we'll start here for a moment. Just find your comfortable seat if you haven't already. I'll give you a moment to do that. And take a nice breath into your belly. And do it again and let it out with a sigh. And then one more breath, and this time, as you're filling your belly, imagine that you're also breathing into your back and side ribs here. And keep that. See if you can keep that breath expanding into your belly and into your back body all at the same time. Notice your feet. And now start to notice your pelvic bowl. So notice if your pelvic floor muscles are contracted. And when I say your pelvic floor muscles, what I'm referring to is the muscles that if you were urinating and you wanted to stop your flow of urine, the muscles that you would engage in order to stop that flow. So notice you can even right now for a moment contract those muscles and then release them. And again, take a breath here. And release those muscles a little bit more with your exhale. Throughout this exercise today, I'm going to continue to bring mindfulness and attention to the pelvic bowl muscles, because what I'm finding is that we have a habitual response to the world, to the chaos around us, to certainly the stress of the most recent election experience that we've had. We have a response of clenching and tightening, and it's our subconscious attempt to try to protect this part of our body but it actually creates stagnation and tension. So let's practice together releasing the pelvic bowl muscles with your exhale. Great. So now we're going to take our hands beneath our ribs and very gently lift the ribs. And now bring your hands up by one rib at a time and then lift again. And then again, bring your hands up by one more rib and lift. And then keep doing that until you've run out of ribs. And then your shoulders, you'll notice they're awkwardly up by your ears. So see if you can roll them back and down, which leaves your chest or your heart a little bit hyperextended. So see if you can keep all this amazing length you've just created between each of your ribs and concurrently in your spine between each of your vertebrae. And then see if you can melt the organ of your heart back between the cave of the shoulders while keeping all of this beautiful lift. That's great. And take another couple of breaths here. Beautiful. And then the completing piece of that is take your hands to your occiput, the little ridge behind your skull, and lift. So again, taking our hands behind the occiput and gently lifting, and you'll see when you look at from the front that when I do that, my chin gently tucks. Now, I'm not trying to look down per se, I'm just, from this action, allowing my chin to tuck, and this is creating space between all of the cervical vertebra, the vertebra in my neck. Great. Now that we've done all this beautiful work, we're going to come back to the pelvic floor for a moment and look at the angle or the tilt of the pelvis. This is a fun one to play with. I think of all of these postural re-education as body play. We're just exploring where our own center is today, which might be different tomorrow. So this would be a tuck of my tailbone, and this would be an exaggerated release. So this would be too much extension in the tailbone, which would create compression in these lower vertebrae, which we don't want. And then this is an exaggerated tuck, which is kind of like that energy of your tail tucked between your legs, right? So we want to find what's in the middle of that, and you can play with that while you're sitting a little bit. It's kind of like if you do yoga at all, cat and cow pose that you do on your hands and knees. So just find your exaggerated tuck, your exaggerated untuck, and then what feels like it's exactly in the middle for you today. And then we'll come back and just repeat everything we just did and stack it on top of our aligned pelvic bowl. Okay, so again, we're playing with the tuck of our tail here, finding neutral, which feels like about here for me. We're always breathing. Sometimes we forget that in life. We're noticing what's happening in our pelvic floor muscles. Are they contracted? Can we release a little bit more? We're finding our ribs and lifting, coming up by one vertebra and lifting, and again, one rib at a time, and rolling our shoulders back, Melting the organ of the heart so gently, letting it be cradled by the cave of the shoulders. And then again, lifting the occiput, right? There we go. Give yourself a nice little massage back here for a minute. Oh, that feels good. Great. And then we're just breathing here. And noticing again, has your pelvic floor contracted at all? And can I find a little bit more release with my exhale? Beautiful. So we are going to bring this exercise into a standing up posture. Okay, and maybe just jump around and shake it out a little bit, find your neutral. Great. Nice deep breath. Notice how you habitually stand. You know, are you collapsing your weight to the outside of your feet, to the inside of your feet? Where is center, right? So here's your foot. Can you find the weight between this triangle of the back of your heel, the center of your heel, and these 2 points on the bottom of your foot, right? Can you find the floor with your foot in that way, and then with your other foot, so you're standing solidly on the ground. Lift your toes up so that you strengthen the arches of your feet. The arches of your feet in reflexology are associated with the pelvic bowl region, with the uterus, with all the organs in this region of the body are associated with the arch of the foot. So if the arches are weak or collapsed, just the simple practice of standing and lifting your toes and releasing them and lifting and releasing can be supportive to strengthening your arches and therefore strengthening the energy that rolls through your pelvic floor. So again, finding your feet, lifting your toes, and then placing them gently on the floor while keeping some strength in your arches. And then again, playing with this tuck of the tailbone. So this is my exaggerated tuck. This is my exaggerated untuck that creates some compression in here. We don't want either of those things, but we want to play around with it a little bit until we find the center. And when you find what feels like your center, allow your tailbone or your coccyx to drop, to be heavy, and imagine that it's pulling away from the crown of your head. So there's this one long line of energy lengthening your entire spine that goes down from the tailbone and up through the crown of the head. Great. And then again, finding your ribs and lifting again, again, one more time, and rolling your shoulders back and down. Melting the organ of your heart ever so gently back between the cave of the shoulders. Lifting your occiput, creating that very gentle and subtle tuck of your chin. And breathing. And noticing again what's happening in your pelvic bowl muscles. Can you relax and release a little bit more with your exhales? Great, so we're going to keep this posture and go into one more exercise. And this exercise is in response to what I have been noticing in the last month or so leading up to the election, and then afterwards I'm noticing that many of the wombs that I've been working on are in this response of hiding. It's like a trauma response. And what I've been noticing is that I can't feel the uteri, many of them, not all, because usually that means they are set back too far to feel, so it's almost like they're hiding. So what I'm wanting to do is offer an exercise that invites the uterus to come back forwards and center in the body, because we feel much better when she's there. My teacher said, if a woman's uterus is out of alignment, then so is she. Everything in her life will reflect this. So what we're going to do here is, it's a very simple exercise. Lifting the arms up overhead. And on an exhale, allow yourself to fold over, keeping a nice flat back. And breathing into your front body, your belly, as well as your back body, these back ribs and the kidney area. And then we're just going to bend one knee and then the other knee, and almost like a belly dance shimmy. And then as you're doing this, you can slowly start to roll up. So it's a really simple exercise, and what we're doing is leaning forwards and shaking a little bit to help invite the uterus to release forwards again. Plus it feels really good. And again, roll up. And let's take one more inhale together. Palms together over your head, and exhale your palms down to your heart. Thank you all so much for joining me here and watching this. My hope is that it supports you into an embodied pelvic floor that supports you in lots of ways in your life. I wanted to share with you a couple of sacred offerings that are special and specific to this Women's Sacred Self-Care Well. So one is that I wanted to offer all of you here watching this today a $25 discount for either an in-person womb session or a Skype consultation session. And also I have Your Sacred Pelvis weekend-long retreat coming up the last weekend in January here in Northampton, Massachusetts. And if you register for that before December 13th, I'd like to offer you a special free womb-centered gift. So please feel free to contact me about either of those offerings. You can find me at www.purpleroseabdominalmassage.com. And thanks again. Blessings.